Kale microgreens are very easy to grow, and it is one of the fastest growing microgreens as well. Hello everyone, we're in the winter months now, so there's no chance of growing outside, but I can always grow microgreens inside. Actually, any time of the year you can grow microgreens indoors. In this video, you will see how I grow kale microgreens indoors. The seeds will usually germinate in 2 or 3 days, and the kale microgreens are ready for harvest in as little as 8 to 10 days. This is the Red Russian variety. It has a nice pinkish red color on the stem, and the seeds are relatively inexpensive. I got my seeds from Todd's Seed Company. Here you can see online they're selling for $11.63 a pound. Another company that I like to use to get my seeds from is True Leaf. Here you can see their price for Red Russian kale seeds is $23.46 for a pound, which is more than double the price of Todd's for this particular seed. So to start, we need the seeds, then we need some trays to grow in. I like using these 10-inch by 10-inch trays, one with holes and the other without holes. I will plant the seeds in the tray with holes and then nest it into the tray without holes so that when I water the plants, the water can drain into the bottom tray. And then I have a third tray without holes, and this I use to cover the trays for the first 4 days to block out the light. This tray will rest on top of the seeds with some weight on it to simulate the way seeds are when they're planted in the ground with soil on top of them. This way the seedlings will have to work to push their way out of the soil. This also allows me to stack the trays on top of each other so it takes up less room in my growing area, at least for the first couple of days. By then I will have harvested another set of trays and then there'll be more room to spread out. I grow several varieties of microgreens, so I always label my trays. If you use the blue painter's tape, it doesn't leave an adhesive residue, and the label will be easier to remove if you use the tray for something else. You might also want to label it with the date. And now I'm ready to add soil to the tray. I use an organic soil mix, whatever I happen to have around at the time. I put around 1 inch of soil in the tray, 1 inch is about the first line on this tray. You really don't need much soil since you're only growing the kale to the microgreen stage. Obviously, if you were planning to grow the kale to maturity, you would need much more soil for the plant to establish itself. Next, I measure out a tablespoon of the seeds and I put them into an Old Spice container with evenly distributed holes in the cap. This way I can shake out the seeds over the soil more evenly. But before I shake out the seeds, I want to water the soil to get it nice and wet. So I give it a nice soaking. This sprayer is great. You just pump it a few times to pressurize the container, and then you can spray with it for a very long time. Much easier on my hands than the regular spray bottles, which I also have. Okay, now I'm ready to distribute the seeds over the soil. You can see how easy it is with the spice shaker. And now I mist the seeds one more time with water. And now I cover them up with another tray to block out the light and set them aside. Now it's the next day and let's take a peek. If you look closely, some of the seeds are starting to pop open, but not much is going on yet. Let's call this day 1. Alright, now it's day 3 and you can see more sprouting going on in the tray. You can see some white fuzz around the little sprouts. That's not mold. Those are little tiny root hairs. Alright, so far so good. Now it's day 4 and there is much more growth since just yesterday. You can see little yellow leaves starting to form. So now I'm going to leave these uncovered so that they can undergo photosynthesis and start producing chlorophyll, which will turn the leaves green. You may be wondering if you need to water the soil during the first 4 days, and the answer is yes if they look like they need it, and no if they don't. Touch the soil to see if it's dry, and if it is, then give it a drink of water. Everyone has different environmental conditions, so if you're in a humid environment, the chances are you won't need to water the soil as much as if you're in a dry environment. So touch the soil, and if it's dry, then give it some water. Alright, here we are a week later. This is day 7, and you can see how beautiful the kale looks, and why it's called Red Russian kale. The stems have a really beautiful color. You can harvest them now. I'm going to wait a couple more days until they're just a bit taller. Microgreens are believed to have much greater nutritional value than their mature plant counterparts, and kale microgreens are packed with antioxidants, fiber, vitamin A, C, K, as well as iron and copper. They make a great addition to any salad, soup, or sandwich, or in an omelet or a green smoothie. There are so many ways to use microgreens. This particular variety has a pretty mild flavor to me. Some people think it has a nutty flavor. And to top it off, kale has sulforaphane, which is believed to have cancer-fighting properties. Now it's day 10 and I'm ready to harvest this. They have had a couple more days to grow taller and you can see how beautiful they look. I always like to look at the roots. I don't know why. Some people ask me if they can reuse the soil, and since I use so little soil to grow the microgreens, it's really very matted with roots, so I throw it into the compost pile to break down over time. So no, I don't reuse the soil the way it is, but it will eventually find its way to my outdoor garden as compost. Alright, now I'm ready to harvest this. I like using scissors. I know some people use a knife. If you use a knife, make sure it is really sharp. I find it's easier for me to use a pair of scissors and just snip what I need. Here I'm going to harvest the whole tray, but sometimes I just take what I need and leave the rest to continue growing. Okay, I harvested the entire tray. Now I'm ready to wash and dry the microgreens before storing them in the refrigerator. The salad spinner comes with a nice strainer basket, which makes it easy to wash the microgreens, and then you just spin it dry. I do this a couple of times until I get as much water as I can to spin off, and then I lay the microgreens out on paper towels. And now these are ready to eat or store away. So how quick and easy was that? I hope I've inspired you to try growing microgreens for yourself and for others. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. And thank you for watching. Bye.